us outside of playoffs. What are you hoping for next season?
I think next season, obviously, we'd like to make playoffs. We made that a goal for us in 2024, and we were disappointed not to make it. We were obviously in contention throughout the entire season, which I think is an improvement on the year before. But ultimately, not qualifying was very disappointing. And so for next season, I think, again, that'll be kind of the baseline for us. We want to be a team that's in playoffs every year, and so we're going to try and improve as much as we can in the offseason to make that our goal for next year.
And sorry, I'll just indicate once more. I know we know everyone, but if we can just state your name and your outlet before you ask your question. First one, and then you can pop more from there.
Zach Mazar from VFC. For both of you, the season saw a number of improvements in a number of different ways, but in some ways kind of settled very similar to last year. 7 plays, only 1 more point, one less win. What do you as you reflect on that? Obviously, like you said, you were in it, but like the whole way. So that's an improvement. But as you look back on the season, what are things that you saw as improvements, and maybe what are things that you saw that didn't go as well, aside from not making plays?
I think one thing that definitely we didn't improve upon was, I think, our form at home. I said it, I think, in our post-game presser after the Ottawa draw. Was, if you want to make playoffs, you have to take advantage of your home field advantage, right? There's a lot of travel in this league. It's difficult on teams. We know that when we travel, and so when you're playing at home, you need to try and pick up as many points as possible. And not only that, but you need to put in good performances, and I thought there were just too many times this year where we came out flat at home and didn't take advantage of that. And I think at the end of the season, that's where you probably look to criticize yourself most is, how you played in front of your home fans. So.
To what Callum's saying, I think a good thing we did this year was, first time we got points from Halifax, first time getting points from Ottawa, winning at Forge. So those were important points that kept us on the run. But we got to be more consistent that next year as well.
Felipe Vallejo from Northern Tribune. Kind of want to jump in on that. You've had some time now to reflect on specifically that biggest issue, because I think you're right in saying that was your biggest issue this season. You were in the playoff spots till pretty much the last few weeks, and then it was just the home form that let you down. Now that you've had a little bit of time to think about it, what were the factors that you think gave into the poor home form? Because I know as myself, somebody that was watching all the way through, even now, I'm still kind of scratching my head at why there was such a drop-off in performance at home.
Yeah, I think at times it's difficult to pinpoint because when you're aware of something, you're trying to do everything possible to kind of, adjust and correct things. So I think throughout the year we adjusted our scheduling on game day, our preparation. For this year, even compared to last year, we switched to a different side of the field to make it easier to get out there for warm-up, things like that. So we were making adjustments, trying to make a difference and change things. But ultimately, I think it was tough mentally for us because we kind of had a decent amount of tough moments. And then I think when you walk out onto that pitch, you're not walking out there full of confidence, right? It's like it's a mental battle every time to kind of put the poor results behind you and try and, make it into a home fortress. And I just thought we didn't quite get over that hump mentally to, string a couple of results together that would start to change our mindset. Ultimately, anytime we kind of tried to make progress, even within games, we kind of set ourselves back with poor moments. I think even the 3-1 at home to Forge, thought we were playing great to start that game, and then we end up letting in 3 goals, and I don't think it feels like a 3-1 loss for us, but that turns into another bad day where we're trying to do everything right, and things just didn't go well for us. So I think mentally we need to kind of reset going into next season and try and right those wrongs.
Yeah, also touching on the mental side, you guys could see the like we woke up after a while, the incident that happened at the Valor game with the keeper. You guys saw what happened. They didn't call the foul or not. Then we all went like crazy about it, and then that's when we woke up. So I think that feeling of the game, that intensity we played the last 20-30 minutes of the game, we should bring that throughout all year, right? Not just when one thing happens, because maybe it wouldn't happen in any other game, right? So that mental part of being there, being present in the game, it's a main part for us coming forward.
Alex Gauger, One Soccer. I guess take me through, kind of the start of the season. You guys came out flying, got a couple good wins at home, got off on the right start, but sometimes the challenge of this league can be you play teams 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. There start to be less surprises. Do you feel that maybe your hot start gave a little confidence that maybe in a league like this could be to your disadvantage when you're coming to those games later in the year?
I think it's always difficult, like you said, to be playing teams multiple times. I think you see it probably a lot where teams will get one up and then lose the next one, then win, then it's that kind of builds a bit of a fire within you when you lose, and then builds maybe a false confidence when you win. And yeah, I think you could look at our season and say maybe at times we got too high maybe at the beginning, but I think as well we got too low at some of the lows. And ultimately, I think mentally you have to stay so even-keeled throughout a professional season, because it's not one after the first week, we're at the top of the table feeling good about ourselves, but that didn't end up meaning much because we didn't make playoffs. So yeah, I think the beginning of the season was promising. Everybody had a fire in their belly, and the results were showing, and then a couple difficult results, and again I think we kind of felt that heavy on our backs and let it weigh us down a little bit more than we should have. So I think with the experience we have in the squad, and hopefully bringing back some guys for next year, hopefully we learn from that and we kind of grow from that, right? That's what you can expect now.
Yeah, also from what most of the people expected from us, the result from last year, starting that way this season was a bit of a surprise to most of the people outside the room. We ourselves in preseason didn't have a great preseason. We were tying or losing games that were we didn't have any idea what was going on in that game. So I think starting the season that way, also we ourselves saw the team on a much better position from what we ended up. So I think seeing ourselves as one of the big teams from the league this year also didn't help us as much, because we went into games at some point saying like, oh, we're right now second or third, we're playing against a 6 or 7 team. That didn't help much also. So I'll say it's always great to start on a good form, but it didn't help us as much mentally this year.
Callum, I know you were there since the beginning, and you've seen a completely version of this team this year than what you saw last year. As well as being the captain, you're at the forefront of sort of leading the team into every game. But even though you got a wealth of experience and a lot more, quality at the start of this season than you did obviously last season, there's still those kind of issues that are maybe a little bit more spanning across both seasons, of the mental aspect of we saw throughout the season the team giving away some cheap goals, some silly mistakes that cost you points and eventually cost you the playoff spot. What do you kind of bring that down to? What do you think kind of allowed the team to give space for those mistakes, despite, like I mentioned, having a lot more players with experience coming from outside, coming within the CPL, still having those kind of mistakes be prevalent to the team?
Yeah, I think that's a question that I've been asking myself and been thinking about, and I think throughout the year I probably look at myself and just thinking about on field and trying to organize a team when we're in and out of possession, and I think that's an area that I can definitely improve on in terms of trying to make sure that we're preventing goals from happening and preventing chances from being created. But speaking just in general, I think honestly sometimes you go into a season and you know that you maybe lack experience like last year, and so you come in with a mindset where it's like you maybe have to do more with less, right? And I think this year, probably when we look at the mental part of it, and the fact that we had some similar downfalls to the year prior. It could be attributed to the fact that maybe we felt like we had the team and then we let our guard down a little bit. We kind of, put maybe a little bit too much faith into one another without putting the work in or the effort to try and, talk about things or solve problems on the go. More so kind of relying on the past experience and quality of players. But I think you see it in this league. It's so competitive. Week by week, anything can happen, and you can't really rest upon, what's happened in the past. You have to constantly work at it, even if you have a team full of quality players with experience. So I think at times, probably if we look back on it, we maybe didn't prepare well enough going into it and tried to rely on just the quality of the individuals a little bit too much. So that's definitely something we want to improve upon for next year.
Cal, you guys have talked so far mostly about team performance and results and that kind of stuff. Just a moment to reflect on personal things. Obviously, you play for the team; it's all about the team and all that kind of stuff. But on a personal level, what has been meaningful for you about this season? Where you see yourself grow? I mean, you talk about ways you can improve there for a moment, but obviously you've been nominated for the Golden Glove, the best keeper in the league. You have records for most saves, all these kind of these big things. Obviously, most saves then means lots of shots given up by your team, which is another part of it. But yeah, as you look at this year and you look at it from an individual performance perspective, how do you feel about this year? And where do you think things went well for you and maybe things could have been better?
Yeah, I think for me personally, I'm pretty proud of the year that I put in. I think I've worked with Mark Village for a number of years now, from Pacific to Vancouver. And so him and I have a very close relationship. And I think going into these last couple of years, when we moved to Vancouver, I spoke to him about trying to kind of get back to the basics of what goalkeeping is, which is shot stopping. I think in my time at Pacific near the end, I was feeling a little bit robotic in what I was doing, a little bit too kind of going through the motions of training, like training really hard, but everything was a little bit too training based and not kind of live situations. And I was losing a little bit of the make a save however you need to make a save in a point of the game. If it wasn't like standard or typical, I don't think I was making those big saves in my last year at Pacific necessarily. So that's something that we've been working on for the last little while. And I feel like that really came out this year. I feel like at times I was making those big saves to kind of keep us in games, which is something I know I'm capable of, but kind of had gotten away from. And then, at different points in the year, I think late in the season, we were struggling a little on set pieces, myself included. And so, we focused on that for a few weeks and trying to kind of get back to being dominant in the box, and I thought I did well with that. And then obviously for me personally, just trying to grow as a leader within the team. I think that affects my play on the field, and it's my second year as a captain of this squad, so I feel like I grew as a leader in the locker room and on the field and learned a lot in that regard. And so overall, like, disappointed as a team with what we did, and obviously my contributions to that, but on a personal level as well, I think I'm decently proud of kind of what I was able to accomplish.
And for you, Vasco, too, as you look back on the season, you have some brilliant goals, some massive goals, but then also some moments of what we might call seeing the red mist, where it costs you the ability to be in more matches. What are some of the pros and some of the cons as you look back on your own personal performance in this season?
Yeah, of course, happy to play a lot of minutes. Obviously, adding the goals and the assists to the team and to my record. Also, I think I focused a lot this year was like winning the duels, the tackles in the midfield, which I think was a big part of this year. Points I want to improve, obviously the discipline part, which is an important thing for me, because I think this year I missed 5 games, which is unacceptable. So I started working on it at the end of the year with a psychologist from back home in Peru. It kind of helped a little bit, but I wanna keep doing that too in the off season to see progress next year. And then obviously a part for me is I always want to play forward, so I can see that as a good part. But there are moments that I lose possession easy because I always want to play forward. So that's the thing I wanna stop and think about a bit. It's not always good to play like that because you lose a lot of balls. But I just wanna go into the off season, think about it, keep working, and then come back next season.
One more for you, Renz. Especially last year, in the second half of the year where you were here, you were a lot of playing in a duo midfield along usually typically ran in. And then this year was a little bit more duo or trio. Did that impact you at all? Do you have a preference over that? Was that a big adjustment for you, or is it just no? I have this role, win the ball, play forward.
To be honest, I'd rather play as a two, but at the end of the day, it's the Afshin's decision. So I'll adapt to whatever he decides. But at the Whitecaps, I used to play as a single six. So I mean, I'm used to win balls and then play forward, right? But in here, I just got to adapt to whatever the coach says. So yeah, I'm just happy to be playing and be on the field.
This will be the last question from the room.
I guess just, you guys now have done 2 years of this project, and it's unique of, you guys are obviously focused on performance and on the pitch, but also you carry a lot of weight with what you do off the pitch for a growing club, helping in the community, getting connections like that. What's it been like just, having that, to balance that maybe more than at some clubs where, it's more established, it's different expectations and kind of managing that?
I think for me, it's an honor to try and grow this club within the community. I grew up in this community, so for me to be able to play a role in getting out to schools, whether that's reading books, doing practice clinics, whatever, any kind of events that we've been doing as a club, it's something that maybe we've had to put more boots on the ground than maybe at other clubs I've been at, just because of the fact that we're a new club trying to show ourselves to the community and kind of what we can offer to the community and the support we can offer. But I look at it as something that doesn't detract and isn't a burden whatsoever. It's just something that I definitely signed up for, and something that I'm honored to do and happy to do. And so for me, it's been a joy to see the kind of growth of the club within the community and the kind of reach that we have. Because there's a lot of work going on in order to try and grow the brand and show that we're here to serve the community, not take. So for me, it's something that I've enjoyed a lot.
Yeah, and adding to that also, having the Whitecaps in the same market, it's a bit harder. So we gotta put more effort into it. Not just us, the office, everyone in the club is just making a big effort on branding the club, making it known out here. So yeah, it's a really big task, but we're up for it.
Awesome. And we'll have Iski from Footy first, one question on Zoom, and then we'll be done with this panel.
Hey there, guys. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. I guess this could be a question for both of you, but maybe Callum, you'll have a little bit more to say on it. I was just wondering, with all of the addition of the hometown boys the past off season that you guys added to the squad, and Benjamin Fisk, and David Norman Jr. and that, do you feel like from a fan base you've been able to connect with them a little bit better this season than in past seasons? And with that, do you think that maybe for some of the guys it becomes a little bit of a distraction from what you're trying to achieve on the field as well?
I think most clubs in the world want to see homegrown players playing for their local club. I think it matters at all level, whether it's Manchester United bringing players to the academy, or Vancouver FC having guys that grew up and played in BC playing for their hometown team. I think it matters to fans. It brings out a sense of pride within the players that do it. And I think for a lot of the guys being back home, it's given them a comfort that maybe they haven't had in their career. And with that comfort, I don't think came a lack of effort or focus. I think it kind of sharpened a lot of guys' minds, took a lot of weight off of them. I think it's difficult when you're always away from family and friends. I think that can be tough times for guys when things aren't going well. But I think for a lot of guys, they have their whole support system with them here in the city if they're a local guy. And I think through the highs and lows of a season like we had, I think that's super beneficial to guys. I know I felt it, having my family around to come to games regularly and support myself and the team. And I think fans in the stands appreciate getting to know guys that are within their community, that have grown up there. And that's not to take away from guys who, maybe weren't born and raised locally, because I think people in the Lower Mainland are really proud of this area and love to share it and, welcome people into the community. So I think as a club, we've done a good job of kind of finding that balance.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Callum and Vasco, and have a good off season.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.